Most people spend their entire lives never truly relaxing. Not even once. Studies show that over 70% of adults carry chronic muscle tension so persistently that their nervous systems have completely forgotten what genuine physical rest actually feels like. The body is running an emergency alarm around the clock, and most people assume that is simply just how life feels. It is not. There is a technique so simple, so thoroughly backed by science, that researchers have used it to treat everything from insomnia to post-traumatic stress. And it starts with something you would never expect. In the next 10 minutes, you are going to discover exactly how progressive muscle relaxation works at the neurological level, why the tension release cycle is more powerful than any breathing exercise alone, and the one counterintuitive truth about relaxation that almost no one ever talks about. Most people think relaxation means doing nothing. They are completely wrong. The most effective path to a deeply calm body actually runs directly through deliberate, conscious tension first. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why, and you will never think about rest the same way again. Progressive muscle relaxation, commonly abbreviated as PMR, was developed in the 1920s by an American physician named Edmund Jacobson. Jacobson was a researcher at Harvard University and later the University of Chicago, and he spent decades studying the relationship between muscular tension and anxiety. His foundational observation was both elegant and revolutionary. He noticed that anxious patients consistently displayed elevated tension in their skeletal muscles, even when they believed themselves to be sitting still and relaxed. This led him to a critical insight. The mind and the body were not separate systems operating independently. They were deeply, continuously influencing each other. Jacobson published his landmark work in 1929 in a book called Progressive Relaxation, and it laid the groundwork for what would become one of the most widely studied behavioral techniques in clinical psychology. His method involved systematically tensing and then releasing individual muscle groups throughout the body, training the nervous system to recognize and return to a baseline state of calm. What made Jacobson's work genuinely groundbreaking was the scientific precision behind it. He was not offering a wellness philosophy. He was measuring physiological change. Using early electromyography equipment, he recorded the electrical activity in muscles during different mental states and proved conclusively that tension and anxiety were inseparable. By learning to physically release muscle tension, patients were also reducing the physiological signature of anxiety itself. Here is something most people never think about. Your muscles are in constant two-way communication with your brain. When your brain perceives a threat, it sends signals to tighten the muscles, preparing the body for fight or flight. But the reverse is also true. When your muscles signal tension upward to the brain interprets that as evidence that a threat must still be present. This is the feedback loop that keeps so many people trapped in chronic stress. The body and the brain are endlessly confirming each other's alarm state. Progressive muscle relaxation interrupts that loop at the physical level. By deliberately tensing a muscle group first, you create a heightened state of awareness of where tension lives in your body. Most people genuinely cannot feel the difference between a tense muscle and a relaxed one until they have created a strong contrast. This is why doing nothing does not work. Lying still does not produce that contrast. The deliberate squeeze does. Research from the past 3 decades has significantly expanded our understanding of exactly how PMR produces its effects. A 2019 meta-analysis published in the journal Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine reviewed over 40 clinical studies and found that PMR consistently reduced both subjective anxiety and physiological markers including heart rate, blood pressure, and cortisol levels across diverse populations. These were not small improvements. Participants in regular PMR practice showed cortisol reductions averaging between 14 and 30% across multiple trials. That is a meaningful biological shift, not a placebo effect. But here is what nobody talks about. PMR does not work primarily through the muscles themselves. It works through the nervous system's own reset mechanism. When you tense a muscle and then release it, you are activating the parasympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for rest and recovery. The release phase triggers what physiologists call reciprocal inhibition, a process where the nervous system automatically suppresses tension in a muscle group once activation ceases. You are essentially teaching the parasympathetic system to become more responsive, more available, more capable of overriding the stress signals that have been running unchecked. Over time, regular PMR practice literally rewires neural pathways. Neuroscientists studying the long-term effects of relaxation training have found measurable changes in the prefrontal cortex and amygdala among consistent practitioners. The amygdala, which is the brain's primary threat detection center, shows reduced reactivity. The prefrontal cortex, which governs executive function and emotional regulation, shows increased activity. This is not metaphorical. These are structural and functional changes visible on brain imaging. So how does a standard PMR session actually unfold, and why does the specific sequence matter? A typical session begins at either the feet and moves upward, or at the hands and moves systematically through the entire body. Each muscle group is tense for approximately 5 to 10 seconds, then released, and the practitioner focuses attention fully on the contrast between those two states for another 20 to 30 seconds before moving on. Common sequences include the feet, calves, thighs, abdomen, chest, hands, forearms, upper arms, shoulders, neck, and the muscles of the face including the jaw, eyes, and forehead. The face is particularly important, and here is why. A disproportionate amount of the brain's sensory and motor cortex is dedicated to processing information from the face and jaw. Chronic jaw clenching, often happening completely unconsciously during sleep or throughout the day, sends a continuous stream of tension signals directly into the central nervous system. Releasing the jaw alone can produce a measurable drop in overall arousal. Many people trying PMR for the first time are genuinely shocked to discover how much tension they were holding there without any awareness at all. Research also supports the use of focused attention during the release phase as a critical component of effectiveness. Studies comparing active PMR with distracted or passive muscle release found that the directed attention, the deliberate noticing of the softening sensation, produced significantly greater reductions in anxiety and physiological stress markers. The quality of attention matters enormously. This is where PMR overlaps with mindfulness, though it approaches the goal from an entirely different direction. PMR has been extensively validated as a clinical intervention for conditions well beyond everyday stress. A 2020 review in Sleep Medicine Reviews found that PMR significantly improved sleep onset latency and sleep quality in patients with primary insomnia, reducing average sleep onset time by up to 30 minutes in controlled trials. Studies at the Cleveland Clinic have documented its effectiveness for managing chemotherapy-related anxiety. The American Psychological Association lists PMR as a well-established treatment for generalized anxiety disorder. Military rehabilitation programs have incorporated it for veterans managing symptoms of post-traumatic stress. The breadth of its clinical application is genuinely remarkable for a technique that requires no equipment, no medication, and no special training to begin. What this means in practical terms is worth pausing to fully appreciate. The single most common barrier to sleep, which is physical tension that the nervous system has normalized and no longer recognizes as a problem, has a direct, proven, biological solution that is completely free and available to anyone right now. The reason more people do not use it consistently is not a lack of evidence. It is a lack of education. Most people simply do not know how it works. There is also a cumulative effect that deserves emphasis. PMR practiced once produces temporary relief. PMR practiced consistently over weeks and months produces lasting neurological change. A 6-week program of daily PMR sessions averaging 20 minutes each has been shown in multiple studies to produce sustained reductions in baseline anxiety, improved sleep architecture including deeper slow-wave sleep stages, and long-term improvements in the body's cortisol awakening response, which is a key indicator of how the stress system is calibrated first thing in the morning. The takeaway here is layered. Progressive muscle relaxation is not a trick or a comfort technique. Before you go, if you learned something valuable today, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Sleep Wave for a brand new video every single day. We will see you in the next one.